Yes, Kenya. Tamu sana, tamu sana, tamu sana, yes. Secrets are being revealed. Just yesterday, Senior Counsellor Benazir Abdullahi just fell short of exposing on how 2022's presidential petition was compromised. In our yesterday's analysis, we dissected that in details. Today, IMF has also dropped another bombshell. IMF criticizes Ruto government for continuing fuel subsidies. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has hit out at Kenya over the reintroduction of the fuel subsidy scheme on grounds that lack of funds to pay oil marketers will lead to distortion of the budget. If you continue with the story, the IMF said that the government introduced the subsidy despite lack of funds to pay oil marketers, with the treasury yet to pay the firms at least shillings 9 billion that has accumulated from last year. President William Ruto had in 2022 vowed that his administration would not subsidize pump prices in line with the conditions to access billions of shillings in loans from the Bretton Woods institution. Yes, IMF is just exposing to Kenyans that Ruto's government is still going on with the subsidies, with the fuel subsidies. So the big question is, why are fuel prices still very high in Kenya? Even some of our neighbors who have all along been getting their fuel to us, their pump prices are cheaper than us. While in Kenya, we have fuel subsidies, but the prices are still very high. That's something we must look into. Secondly, we were told of the G2G. It's also being exposed here that because of that G2G, Kenya's government has accrued a debt of 9 billion Kenya shillings. So G2G has actually made Kenya to be in debt. That's also very interesting. We must look into that. And then a very interesting issue we must look into again. I thought Kenya was a sovereign country. Why is the IMF dictating terms to Kenya on how the government should be run? I want us to have a look into those three issues. If you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give this video a like. Let's proceed. Let me start by saying this. The unholy alliance between William Ruto and the Western superpowers is hitting a dead end. And there are two reasons to explain that. Either the Western superpowers have already gotten what they wanted from William Ruto and from Kenya, or they have just come to terms with the reality that Ruto is not somebody reliable you can make a deal with. And I'm saying that because upon William Ruto being sworn in as the president, UN's Deputy Secretary General, Ms. Amina Mohammed, was in Kenya. Upon going back, in some leaked conversations, the Deputy SG said that Ruto was not trustworthy, not somebody you could rely on. So already William Ruto's trustworthiness was being questioned earlier in his rule. I'm saying that is what might be playing out here. Now to the first issue. Does it mean that we have fuel subsidies in Kenya? Yes, because Ruto told us that his government was not to subsidize consumption, but to subsidize production. And fuel prices have been going up because Ruto said he can't subsidize the fuel prices. That only confirms that there is serious corruption in this government. Serious corruption. Some individuals in this government are pocketing the subsidies. No doubt about that, ladies and gentlemen. And that exposes how corrupt Kenya Kwanza government is. On the second issue, we were told that G2G was the best decision ever made. And Ruto and his government really bragged about it. It's now emerging that because of that G2G alone, Kenya is in debt of 9 billion Kenya shillings. Something that was not there before the G2G deal. So it's emerging out clearly that we have a very clueless government. A government that is completely naive on governance. And its continued stay in power is going to mess up this country. We are going to be in a serious mess if this government continues. By 2027, if this government will reach there, the economy shall have been battered to a point very few will be able to recognize Kenya. Kenya will be in shambles. And now to the third issue. Why is IMF and these Western superpowers dictating terms to Kenya? The answer is very simple. They see William Ruto as naive. And they see him as a person who has got a lot of luggages. And it might also be possible that they know they are the ones who gave William Ruto that power. He never won the election. They understand this is a man who they are the ones who installed. He is not popularly elected. So he has to serve their interests because they are the ones who gave him that power, not the people of Kenya. And that has the potential of letting Kenyans know that it might be true that Ruto never won 2022 presidential election, but he was forced onto the people, and that's why he does not care about Kenyans. He is only listening to the Western superpowers because after all he knows, those are the people who gave him power. So they must dictate to him on how to run a government. And that proves William Ruto has actually betrayed the country. He is not a patriot. He has actually sold our sovereignty to the Western superpowers. And because of that alone, Ruto is a candidate for impeachment. I believe that's what is coming out from all that. So this is just something that is also going to fail. Everything the government tries doing ends up failing. Ruto's dilly-dallying with the Western superpowers is also going to fail. IMF, World Bank will all abandon him. And that's where Kenya will be in a worse off situation than where we were when Ruto took over power. All this countries will dump him. Yes. So everything this government does eventually ends up failing. Let me stop it there. In case you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give this video a like. Those watching us outside Kenya, drop a comment, let us know from which part of the globe you are watching us from. If possible, subscribe, give this video a like. Let's meet in our next analysis.